Hi, I'm Kathleen Weber, certified and accredited EFT practitioner. Thank you for joining me today. I am coming to you from the coast of Maine, and this is just one of my favorite places. I'm so happy to be having you here with me, making this video for you. So, this is another video in my summer self care series. And today we're talking about sleep disruption. So, if you have a medical condition around sleep, please make sure that you are working with a medical provider. Really what we're talking about here today is if you're having difficulty falling asleep or you're having difficulty falling back to sleep if you've woken up in the middle of the night. I have three helpful hints for you as we talk about that today. But before we get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about cortisol. So, what we know about sleep and stress is that the more stress you have, typically, the more disruption you have with your sleep. And it's not surprising to me when we understand cortisol. Cortisol is that hormone that in the beginning of the day is higher. It gets us up, it keeps us alert, and gets us out of bed in the morning. And as the day goes on, cortisol naturally declines. So when we get to the evening, our body's slowing down and we're able to get ourselves ready for bed and to rest and restore. So, if you have higher levels of stress during your day, your cortisol levels are likely to be higher. It causes inflammation, so we can often have more pain associated with that. And when our cortisol levels don't drop the way that they need to in the day, it can make it difficult for us to rest and relax the way that we need to. So, what we know about EFT through the research is that EFT can reduce cortisol levels. So, why wouldn't we use EFT to help support better sleeping habits? What I want to caution you about with EFT is that for some people, and I haven't run into this too often, but for some people, when they use EFT, it really energizes them. And so you don't want to use it before you go to bed. Likely a better time to use it would be maybe late afternoon, early evening to give your body a chance to kind of settle back down. For probably more people, what I notice is it does tend to have a relaxing effect. I see people start yawning, sighing. I can see the body relax when they use EFT. So I want you to try it out for yourself to find the best time to use it for yourself. But what we want to do is release stress and reduce stress before we go to bed. So if there's something that happened during your day, something where you're like, I know I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night and I'm going to lose sleep over this because it's bothering me. Those are the kinds of things that we want to use EFT on. So, tip number one is to use basic EFT or clinical EFT on those things that happen during the day that have you revved up and have you worked up emotionally. If you're unfamiliar with clinical EFT, please go to my website and sign up for my email newsletter, my email community. You'll automatically receive my free Introduction to EFT for Self Care guide. I walk you through all of the steps. So, what you want to do is be really specific about who was there with you, when did it happen, what happened, who said what, and how are you feeling now about it. That is what we're tapping on. We're not tapping on those emotions that you had then when it happened. It's how am I feeling now? That's what's going to keep you up at night or wake you up at night. So, using EFT on those particular situations. That's number one. Number two, we can also use EFT as a way to just regulate the body's nervous system and help us to calm down before we go to bed without even using any words. So you can use tap and breathe. That's a really nice one to use before bedtime. You just start right on the top of the head and you take a nice, comfortable breath here. And then we go down to the eyebrow. Again, you can do one side or the other or both. It doesn't matter, whatever's comfortable for you. And we're just going to each of the spots, and you can tap slower if you need to. Some people tap really slowly, some people just hold. So use what feels right for you. And we're just taking a nice, comfortable breath at each spot that we're tapping on. And under the nose. Typically, by the time I get down to these spots, my breath is deeper automatically. I'm not trying to make it deeper, it just happens as my body relaxes. And then we go down to the collarbone point. I typically like to use two hands here. And then under the arm. And you can go around as many times as you need to. If you want to go around a couple of times, just as part of your bedtime routine to help relax your body, that can be really helpful. Okay, tip number 3. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you have a partner with you and you don't want to wake them up, you're thinking, okay, I could use some basic EFT on what's happening with me right now. You can imagine that you're tapping on the points and you'll still receive benefit from that. Oftentimes, even if I'm just imagining that I'm tapping on the points and I'm taking those breaths without any words going through my head, it relaxes me enough that I can fall back to sleep. So, hopefully, these tips have been helpful for you. If you would like more information, you're welcome to check out my website, www.kathleenwebereft.com. And please sign up for my email community to get that introduction to EFT for Self Care guide. Take care.